Paul Daner, Mark Shalafoo, from listener questions to some running gags. Insider stories, ambush life, that dad life, and respect for flags. Kick off the weekend, alright? It's the Growler Friday Show. It's Who Dey Light.
All right, welcome to the latest edition of Who Dey Light. Paul Daner Jr. and Mark Shalafoo here with you, kicking off the weekend for you. We're getting out there a little bit early today because we're just ready. We're just ready for this. What a huge weekend here in Cincinnati. It's a big deal. Stuff happening everywhere.
Yeah, you got high school playoff games happening in stadiums. You've got playoff soccer. You've got UC's got a big game. So there's a lot going on this weekend. What flag are you flying?
Potentially the return of Superman Joe Burrow, which we'll talk about a little bit. Potentially, maybe. But yeah, a lot of stuff is happening. The happy birthday flag is up.
Okay.
Well, it's close to being up. Tomorrow, my wife's birthday. Happy birthday to her. Very exciting. A lot happening. Everyone wants to celebrate and have a big event in honor of her birthday.
Yeah, exactly. The biggest weekend ever is just for her birthday.
That's what it is. But the birthday flag flies.
It gets 24 hours. Then you got to take it down for something else.
Yes. Yeah, you do. And then Thanksgiving flag takes over. We'll talk more. I'm not going to go into the Thanksgiving take immediately this week. I know last week a lot of you had response. I want to thank everyone for being on my proper side of the Thanksgiving take.
Terrible take.
Argument last week. We'll get more into that in Dad Life with so many responses, some photos that were sent. We're going to get to some of that later. So I want to save some space for that later as we get into it. But yeah, the Thanksgiving flag will fly. We're going to talk to you about Burrow here today. We're recording this. I feel like I need a timestamp any moment that you are actually speaking about Burrow so that we can say it could change any minute, right? Like just anything at currently 12:52 p.m. Thursday, November 20th. We will tell you about what's the status of Joe Burrow for this weekend and what we know and where it's at. Get to that in a little bit. Mark's going to have his favorite story of the week. You're going to have sent in some questions, a lot of questions. I'm not going to lie here. Can I truth talk, real talk?
Vibes aren't great
here. I love your guys' engagement in the inbox. I appreciate all of you being in there, and I love how nice you guys are and engaging with the show and sending stuff. It feels a little bit like we're just being used as your therapy couch, and I'm comfortable with some of it, but a lot of it feels like, I don't know, like I wait for you to start talking about like, and my marriage is falling apart and my dog has some sort of a disease. Like it feels like everything is just going very, very far. And we're having a lot of big emails in the inbox. It's just kind of just letting it all out. And that's okay. Like, I'm glad we can be a soundboard for you, but maybe there's other places, to let some of those feelings out.
We're happy to read all of those. We're just not going to read all of those on the show, especially the ones. My favorites are the ones that will email this big long thing like, huge fan of the show. I listen to every episode. And then they'll ask a Duke Tobin question that's been answered like 6 times already this season. Yeah. It's like, go back, listen to the Duke Tobin episode. That's why you did it. Like,
that's
right.
It's
all in there. Just go back.
That's fine. It's hard to get in front of all of it, and I don't expect everybody to listen to everything, but we try to stay in front of it. It's hard to, though, because the rock bottom, a new level gets dug out every single week and kind of changes the vibes in the feel. And I understand everybody being very, very mad. You have a right to be as a fan. We are definitely reading all of the emails. It's just, if you notice that maybe more of them aren't making it to the show, it's because there is a little bit of a repetitive nature to some of the rants, because they all come from the same place. Everybody knows what it is right now.
So maybe be more creative with your emails too. I know our listeners are very creative when it comes to their Growler bet subjects and stuff. So you're going to have to work a little bit harder to make your email different from what we've seen lately to make it on the show now.
But we'll still have plenty of yours to get to, and all the other things that you come to expect from us here. So we'll get to all that. I do want to remind everybody, our next live show down at BetMGM at the Banks is before the Ravens game. So we won't be down there this Sunday before the Patriots game, early kick, all that stuff. Week off for us on that one. But we will be down there before the Ravens game doing our Christmas show, giving away all kinds of stuff. I mean, we gave away hundreds and hundreds of dollars of stuff last year. Bengals giveaways, jerseys, tickets, you name it. And we're going to be doing that again as our way to say thank you to all the people that listen to the podcast and follow along and go to the live shows. All the giveaways at the next one before the Ravens game. So we hope to see you down there.
It's not a huge place either. So if you come, you've got a very good chance of winning something. And I will add this too. I feel like the last game we did was the Steelers, right? So like it came away with a big win.
Yeah.
So maybe it's us. We'll bring that positive momentum back to this city. All the more reason to attend that one.
I do want to fire off a best bet for you I was parsing through the BetMGM lines and stuff, just trying to find something I can give as a tip to our Growler listeners. I got to tell you, T. Higgins currently plus 110 to score a touchdown. He has done it in 9 consecutive home games. Okay. I know there's no Jamar Chase, and that makes like the T touchdown more likely sometimes. I don't care about that. He's had a touchdown in 9 straight home games. And if you go back to 2021 without Chase, when it's a game that Chase doesn't play, T has 1.5 more targets a game, 36 more yards a game, and 10% higher percentage of the total yards as a whole. So like he's getting more run. They're going to scheme up more stuff for T specifically, whether it's Flacco or Burrow. There's going to be a lot of just like let T try to go cook one, and maybe he will. Christian Gonzalez, really good corner. They'll probably stick him on him, but I would take T for a touchdown in this one, and maybe go over on yards on that one. If you're looking for something to bet, get into your BetMGM app and hit that up now.
What are the yards at? Do you have that number?
I don't have the over under on the yards in front of me right now. I should have that.
It does seem like just such a smart play, though, especially in the red zone. He's such a tall guy. There's not a lot of great targets for Joe Flacco or Joe Burrow to throw to this weekend. So, plus 100 is still decent return.
Yeah, that's why I don't. They took all the Bengals passing and stuff off the board right now while we wait on the Burrow decision, but it will return at some point. And when it does, hit the T over. I was like, why don't I have the yards in front of me? Oh yeah, that's right. They wiped those. So, but go get that once they put it back on when we get to the decision. All right. On that note, let's talk about Burrow real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
And where this stands. I don't want to keep you guys waiting any longer. Here's where we're at. On Wednesday, he goes out and is a full participant in practice, which was a little bit of a surprise. We knew there's a pretty good chance he was going to dabble in 11 on 11 for the first time on Wednesday. That was told to us basically last week. And Zach Taylor spoke before the practice and said, yeah, expected him to be a part of 11 on 11, but wasn't really going to answer anything. There was a lot of we'll see, a lot of we're working through it. There was one word that wasn't a part of any question about Joe Burrow, and that was no. There was no ruling out him potentially playing this week. And then the practice report comes out, and he was a full participant, which maybe was a bit of a surprise. It was basically because Joe Flacco has been getting these Wednesdays off as his shoulder gets back to keep his throwing limited during the week. He does Wednesday off of throwing. Thursday, he goes in full as his practice day, and Friday, he is limited in his throwing as well. So that opened it up for Joe to go out there and test and see how everything went. And we go out there. We're allowed to go out for the first 30 minutes of practice, which is usually light individual work with no 11 on 11. We don't get to see any of that stretching, that type of stuff. When he was doing individual, just, in the pocket on air, essentially moving around, I mean, he looked great. And I say that as going out there thinking that he'd probably look fine. He'd moved around plenty. You've seen some of those videos, but man, he looked really good moving around. No real issue. The thing that he talked about when he spoke with us last week was the short area, quick twitch stuff is like the biggest obstacle to still get through. Well, he was doing that. I don't know what he's feeling when he's doing that. Like, I don't know if it hurts him when he's doing it. It certainly looks smooth, and he's not reacting or grimacing in any way, at least from what we saw. Then apparently went out in 11-11, looked really good. All the receivers, anybody you talked to was talking about how good he looked. And so then this morning on 700 WLW, the morning show with Tom Brenneman, Zach Taylor does a weekly hit on there, and it was sort of asked on repeat if he thinks that Burrow will play after having seen the practice, because that was yesterday's deal, was I haven't seen any practice. I'm not going to speculate until I see a practice. And now it's like, yet was the word that we were hearing a lot. I haven't made a decision yet. Don't know. We're not there yet. We're going to collect all the information and see. So I don't know yet. I'd love to know, but I don't know yet. Not know again. And so it looks possible. And in fact, maybe likely that Burrow is going to return on Sunday. It is insane.
That's crazy.
It is insane. And so I don't know. Where are you fall on this? Because I don't know where fans fall on this anymore. I feel like I've seen polls where it's like half and half. Some people say, do it, come back, put on the cape and save the season. If you're healthy, you're healthy. If you're healthy and you're comfortable playing, you should play. Then there's other people who are just like bubble wrap, send them to Tahiti. Adios. Yeah. Where do you fall on it?
I want him to play because it's fun to watch him play. That's it. That's what it comes down to for me. I get the argument of like the season's over. Let's just tank for a great draft pick. Keep him safe from another injury. I'm much in the camp of like, let's watch the best quarterback play football with the highly paid receivers. At least that'll be fun for a while. I'm not sure that it's going to get us into the playoffs, but I would like to see that. Also, it does send a bad message if you're like, all right, he's healthy enough to play. He wants to play, but we're going to hold him out. I don't know who's making that decision and how that doesn't end up going poorly for them, at least in the public perception. Even if that is what some fans want. So I would like to see Joe Burrow play. I still can't imagine he would be able to play this weekend. How much of that do you think? Is it just Joe getting healthy enough and having that desire? Or is it, Flacco is still dealing with the injury and maybe can't be 100%?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of shuffling in percentages that are being played here. You talked about the person making the decision dealing with public perception. Well, that person is inevitably going to be Mike Brown, just for make sure we're in the right place here. Like that's the only person that makes this decision. I mean, we talk a lot about people say what does Mike Brown do in terms of how involved he is. And I'm always like, look, he's insanely involved, but he truly comes in with a smaller amount of decisions where it just ends up being his call. He does a large amount of agreeing and going along with what everybody wants to do there as consensus. I think this is one of those that is Mike's call at the end of the day, to be like, I want Joe. I'm comfortable with Joe going out there and playing. Remember when Joe took the magical golf cart ride with Mike?
Yes.
It was before the Rams game with the calf injury, and it was risky to put Joe out there, but it was, we can't go 0-3 or whatever all the record situation was at that point, and weighing risk versus the risk of the team not being able to recover from a certain spot. The golf cart ride was addressing that. And that's because when it comes to protecting this investment and making judgment calls in very murky situations like this one, it does fall on Mike. Like that's,
is that a Bengals
and the family and Katie and Troy, like that's all. But I mean, I think Mike is going to be the one that's going to kind of come to the forefront on this.
That's kind of crazy. That's insane too. That the 90-year-old guy has got to make the biggest decision of the season right here on what to do with your quarterback. That should come from a GM in a normal franchise, right? Or a coach and GM together. Maybe not just on the owner, who is a very old person.
I mean, maybe if Mike wasn't with it or not involved or not understanding of all the factors, it's his organization and he is in control of the direction they go with something like this. I mean, let's play it out and say Joe goes out there and hurts himself, can't move right, takes a hit to his throwing shoulder, or something like that, something serious because he couldn't quite move, or re-injures the toe, whatever. Like, now what's everyone screaming? They're so stupid. How could they do this? Why can't an adult step up and tell Joe, no, you can't go play? Like, it's when you're talking about this level of investment and this big of picture, yeah, then you do involve someone having to make the final say there. And I think that they are going to come to a consensus. I'm not saying that Mike's going to be like, screw all y'all, here's what we're doing. But I mean, there's an element of that where he wants to listen to whatever the consensus is. I think he'll listen to the doctors. And that will be, well, I've said that since the very beginning. Like, tell me about the possibility of re-injury. What is this risk factor here? Joe obviously wants to play. I don't think there's any debate. Like, Joe wants to go play.
And I imagine the coaches would too, right? Like, because they're still probably trying to fight for their jobs. You want your best player out there.
Yeah, within reason. I think they don't want to be on the hook for being like, ship Joe out there and let him go hobble around. If that's the case, they know that's not. That's why I think before the idea was, yeah, you're still probably looking at further down the line. I don't think they expected him to go out there and be able to move like he's moving and throw like he's throwing already. And so when that happens, it opens up the conversation to like, if he's okay with it and he looks like that, why don't we just let him play? And I think that's where it sits right now, to like, you just got to let it go down and gather as much information as you can. All I know right now is the answer ain't no. The other one more factor to this, you're also then asking for him to now play Sunday and then have to play 4 days later on Thanksgiving, on first time he's been back in a game. You know, it's a little easier for him as a quarterback, and he's not a receiver or some edge rusher. These dudes that are just, it's conditioning is more of a factor and all that type of stuff. I mean, there's elements to that, but quarterback's different element there. So, but still 4 days later, go work on, get back out on this toe and everything else tough, again. Yeah. That's why, you would play on, if you played on Thanksgiving, then you'd have 10 days until the next game, plenty of time to rest and recoup or with whatever. So that's another factor to all of this. There's just a lot of factors out there, man. And
I know it feels to me like Jake Browning is a factor here too. And the fact that the medical community is coming together to make sure that we don't watch him play quarterback ever again. We're going to shoot up Joe Flacco with everything we can in his shoulder. Joe Burrow makes a miraculous fast return thanks to his crystals, just whatever it takes, whatever half healthy Joe has to play quarterback just so we don't see Jake Browning again as the primary quarterback. That's what it feels like. That feels like a factor to me, at least.
It's certainly in play. It's certainly in play. And let's be honest. I mean, let's play it out again. Let's play out the other side here. Burrow plays Sunday. Somehow they win. Like, Burrow comes out. It's straight Superman mode. Like, it's just Burrow goes out. They score 38, give up 37, and manage to win, right? It looks like the Steelers game. Everyone's going crazy. They're 4-7 going to Thanksgiving, chance to get to 5-7 on Thanksgiving, but bring Baltimore back to the pack, right? Like, maybe it's alive, and it's really it's really over. We know it's over, but it's your last ditch chance for this season is to try to pull off a couple of wins in these 2 days and rejuvenate hope. So why can't Burrow be the one to go try to do it? And you feel like it's your last chance to give any real hope to this season. So if he can go do it, why not let him try? I understand. Like, I get it all, man. And I think there's it's really unprecedented, because we were kind of thinking, I don't even know if we'll see him in December. Like, I don't even know if he comes back this year at all. There were Twitter docs that were saying his season is absolutely over. And there were some real doctors that were saying it's probably all the way over. And the minimum was 3 months. And that would have been December 14th or whatever it was. Sunday will be 69 days since the week 2 game against Jacksonville. Nice, right? Mm-hmm. And so here we go. Like, that's crazy that's the number when it should have been probably 3 more weeks at absolute bare minimum. But they feel like he has, it's also let's reward this guy for the rehab work that he has put in to get himself to looking like he currently does and caring enough to get himself back when there's others that don't care as much about this team. And, and a lot of them play on defense and they're perfectly healthy.
Yeah, and if I'm Duke Tobin and I feel pretty secure about coming back next season, I totally understand the keep him out argument, because like that defense, throwing him out there, and you don't know what kind of Joe you're getting. Are we getting November Joe Burrow just because it's that time of year? Or are we going to get like early season, still working the rust out Joe Burrow, now down his best weapon and going against a pretty stiff defense? I don't necessarily love that concept either.
Yeah, that's the thing is, I'll be curious, and the line has moved a little. I'll be curious to track the BetMGM line on this, the movement as it goes. If they announce on Friday that Burrow's going to play, does he give you a better chance to win? Logically, yes. Like, obviously, again, I hate that we have to keep saying it. Burrow's better than Flacco. Like, that's obvious. But he hasn't been playing. Flacco has, and the offense has been really good with Flacco in there. He's in the rhythm with guys. And you're just going to throw Burrow. And we know, like you said, you know what he's been the first week or two of every season. And he has a couple of practices under his belt to go do it. And I know Flacco also had, one practice and no knowledge of the system and has gone out there and played this year. So that doesn't seem to be holding anybody back. But there's something to that. Like, you just let the Flacco roll. Is that a better chance than a compromised Burrow if he is? I'd be curious to watch the line on that and see how much it actually does move, because Vegas don't care. Vegas ain't holding back feelings on what you think. They're going to tell you what it really is. And so I'll be curious to watch that line.
Yeah, that'll be something interesting to keep an eye on. My story of the week. So the vibes are not great right now. I do think a Joe Burrow return might change that a little bit. I'm not sure which direction it would change it in. But I just wanted to say shout out to the Bengals social media admin. I don't know who she is or he is, but man, that's got to be one of the toughest jobs in the city right now. We talk about the vitriol that's in our inbox. I was just looking at a few of those posts. It doesn't matter what they post. They just get destroyed in the comments, every single thing. Like, I was looking at it earlier. They announced the ruler of the jungle is some streamer. And every comment was like, how about you get a ruler of the locker room? F this, sell the effing team. Stop posting. Like, they're just going to quit social media. They posted a little game they had some of the players doing, and then everybody blew that up. They're like, oh, we're 3-7. Let's just do TikTok trends. This team isn't serious about getting better. You're a poverty franchise. You guys are a complete embarrassment. Fire the coach. And it just gets worse and worse. When they post the final score graphic, that one was wild. Everybody was furious in that. Somebody just said, effing fire Duke Tobin, you gutless, heartless, prideless, worthless blanks. And that is, the social media admin cannot fire Duke Tobin. Don't throw it all at them. I know that's the spot for a lot of people, and it gets bad. Listen, I know how bad it can get on social media, especially in the immediate aftermath of a heartbreaking loss or a just punishing loss. And I've got my fair share of doomsday tweets out there for sure. We've discussed them on this show. But yeah, don't take out your venom on the Bengals social media people. I also don't like the people that are like trying to tag players' relatives or other public people they find on Twitter. Like, what are we doing here? There's no need to pull that in.
Can I add the most recent example to this?
Yeah.
The Bengals just posted every interception makes an impact on and off the field. With the Kettering Health Crucial Catch Fund, each pick helps power the fight against cancer. Who Dey Nation, let's turn takeaways into life-changing support. Intercept cancer at Kettering Health. And they point out how many interceptions there's been, and one interception equals $1,000 donation. I'm guessing you can imagine what the replies are. Okay, this is great, but how about we set goals for basic tackling? New plan, let's do tackles instead of interceptions. I guess they won't be getting any money then, broken heart. It'd be cheaper to do a tackle cancer fundraiser. Like, guys, can we not do it? Too bad this defense is terrible. Kettering is suffering waiting for this money. Like, it's just absolutely brutal. Can we just poor social shout out? You know what I feel like? I feel like we need to make the Bengals social media admin graders worthy.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's like just to help them through the tough times. And
you know what? They send the 6 pints, right? So you can spread it amongst everyone that has to deal with the social feeds. Maybe one for each feed, like some black raspberry chip for the TikTok person, another black raspberry chip over here, maybe some cinnamon, maybe some cookies and cream for our Twitter person. Like, just spread it around for everybody. I think we need to make some graders worthy people in the social ad.
Yeah, they have to take all the hits, and the content machine never stops. So they have to keep putting out their sponsored deals with hospitals and things. Sure, you can't just change that on the fly to be like, hey, let's make fun of the team with this concept we're doing about cancer. Like, I get that people are mad, but maybe that's not the avenue to really blow up. Maybe a player's birthday post isn't the time to write the most vile stuff about them. But yeah, they're definitely graders worthy.
They are definitely graders worthy. Shout out to them. Also, our guy, Eric Stanio of Keller Williams. We have to make sure you guys know, if you are buying or selling a house, go to our guy like so many Growl Pals have. He is the best of the best. Top 1% of Keller Williams realtors. I don't know if we ever got, he said he didn't have access to those numbers. I don't know if he ever got the full access. We were trying to push him up because he was ranked 12th out of 4,212 agents. We were trying to see if he had officially pushed up, if the Growl Pals had put him over the top into the top 5 or top 10. So I don't know if we ever got those numbers officially.
I'm curious about how often they update those rankings. Is this like college football playoffs where every week the committee releases their new top 12 and we can slowly see Stanio just chipping away, getting up into that bye?
Yeah, and we could talk about, impropriety amongst the committee, who's like, oh, you guys are biased towards West Virginia realtors clearly over there. That's because you got the head of West Virginia governor over here making decisions, right? I'm sure they're involved in these Keller Williams rankings. But anyway, make sure you hit him up. Subscribe to his YouTube channel at Team Stanio. But let him know, info@teamstanio.com. Send him the email or just go to the website, www.teamstanio.com, to connect. We're getting closer. If you do a referral, you can get in a drawing to win Bengals tickets. So get those in now. If you or somebody you know is buying or selling, hit up our guy Eric at Team Stanio.
And if you do refer somebody, you get one of the hats, right? Like, that's
absolutely
the famous hats. That's how you get them, is sending awesome. A referral his way.
Question time. What do we got?
All right. And we do, just for the record, we still appreciate hearing all of your feedback at the Growler Podcast at gmail.com. We're just not going to read all of the heaviest ones that are sort of derivative. And but we did still have a few really good ones here. This one is, he says, this is from Bruce. He says, a few years back, one of Duke's scouts did an interview about how the Bengals approach free agency. He said the first thing they do is determine which players will agree to the type of contract structure the team offers, which I think means no guarantees in year 2 or 3. My question is, does that make signing free agents who could actually help turn the defense around unlikely?
Well, you've probably heard those interviews with Duke scouts on this show or read it in The Athletic. You hear from them all the time. We've had Trey Brown, Steve Radicevic, Potts is on with us every year after the draft. So, we try to keep you in touch with those guys. And then when Duke talks, when we're able to talk to him, you hear from that here. We try to bring you those things as much as we can. I will say this. Yeah. I see what you're getting at with the question here in terms of, like, are there certain guys that they just can't get because of the way that they do contracts? And I think maybe there's some truth to that. They're not going to ever really be super willing to dabble at the top of the free agent market where that really becomes a thing. Whether it's in some of those contracts that look terrible in retrospect, whether we're talking about Christian Wilkins or some of the other big ones that, like, the big names that end up getting tons of money. How many of those pan out? Some obviously do, but it's a lot of money at risk for somebody that you're counting on to come into a new situation. But yes, that's where that would more matter. I think it's like anybody. What is our budget for what we need? What do we value the players at? And where are our matches there? And let's pinpoint those and go after them. Is typically their strategy. Where it comes in with other stuff is, okay, well, then you end up with haggling over what that value is or should be. Someone else is willing to pay it because they're going to hold on to what their value is, and off they go to other teams. And so I think that's part of it. I don't know that it's necessarily the structure all the time. It can be. I mean, players want their guarantees. I think it's part of it. But they have certainly signed plenty of players. Like, it's been that they've signed the wrong players more so than that they haven't signed some players in free agency. I mean, whether you're talking about 2021, it's the Sheldon Rankins of the world. It's the guys that they have gone. Now, last year they just sat out, and that was over whatever the hell happened there. And we'll talk about Marco Wilson Tuesday till we're blue in the face. But I don't know that was because of structures or guarantees or things like that. I understand what you're saying, and I think there's truth to it. There's issues with the way that they negotiate and do this stuff that makes them lose when other teams are involved. But I don't know that it's necessarily exactly the way that you're phrasing it. But yeah, they have problems getting some of these deals done, and when you're in competition, they're not going to win a ton of those.
Our next question, he says, hi, team. Thoroughly enjoying the sad defensive stats you guys are finding. If we're going to be bad, may as well be apocalyptically bad. On that theme, where does our missed tackle compare to college teams this year? Are we the worst football team at tackling, or is there a college team that's actually worse than us? And are we on track to beat the all-time college football record for missed tackles like we are for the NFL record, or not? Great work. Love all the content.
Yeah, and I do need to shout out, ended it with K and a thumbs up emoji. So shout out to you for checking out this week's PD&J, which was a ton of fun. It was a very Who Dey Light-ish segment on PD&J this week. We all needed it. Okay, I have good news. I'm here to be the bearer of good news sometimes too. Okay,
so you're no Jay Morbidson today.
I'm no Jay Morbidson right now. I'm not going to do any of the downer stuff. Washington State is in PFF's grades is graded as the worst tackling team in college football. They have them for 155 missed tackles in 10 games.
Wow.
PFF in 10 games has the Bengals for 108 missed tackles. So finally, they're not the worst. They're finally not the worst, not even this year. Washington State. So Bengals fans, if you want to see how bad it could be, turn on some Washington State football this weekend. Maybe they're probably playing like Hawaii at 3 a.m. or something. You know,
so
flip that on, take it in, and you can feel better about the state of the Bengals defense. It's like 11 Geno Stones out there.
The whole defense of Washington State is made of Geno Stones. That's a terrifying thought. But yeah, at least we're not the worst. At least it's not, you're watching the Bengals defense. Are you watching the worst in the NFL? Yes, but not the worst in football. So that's a big takeaway. Already, the vibes are getting a little bit better, I feel like. Our next question, he says, remember in the summer when PJ Jules had to be told to stop tackling and hitting people in practice? Because that's immediately what I thought of when I saw Geno Stone on Sunday. Let's not forget Tyson Anderson seems to be a special teams all-star, but never gets reps. I know these guys aren't going to flip the entire defense, but I don't see how they bench and trade Logan Wilson in exchange for a bad rookie linebacker play, then proceed to just trot out Jordan Battle and Geno Stone out there week to week without at least trying something else. How do you feel about the safety situation?
I feel like this question is right on. This is what I would email. I mean, amongst many things, but this would be, it's the most confounding of all of this. Like, why these guys get all of this leash to go. I think it's because there's obviously very little trust with Tyson Anderson to be able to apparently go out there and function, which is an indictment of all indictments of how they handled the depth of the safety room this offseason. Okay, if you don't have any trust for Tyson Anderson to go out there and do better than a non-effort having Geno Stone situation that's been happening all year, then how do you not have another backup? How do you not have somebody else? And I don't understand not at least trying Tyson Anderson. What do you have to lose? Are you going to now be definitely the worst defense in the history of our sport? Like, no, it's awful. I don't understand it. I can't imagine being Tyson Anderson and watching that and just saying, really, you're not going to let me try? So for that fact, I don't get it. They have botched this every step of the way, from the offseason to camp to what's happened during this season. Now Dejon Anthony is up off of his IR stashing. Essentially, that's happened. in the 21-day window. So maybe, I don't know, is that signal that maybe in 3 weeks they'll consider cutting Geno Stone or something? Or if it's all right, maybe you're on your last leg, one more shot, one more game that looks like that, Geno, and that's that. Or maybe I don't know. I don't think Dejon Anthony's the answer. I don't think PJ Jules is the answer. I would be willing to watch any of them try to be the answer rather than watch what we have watched in recent weeks. So I think everyone feels your pain. I think every Bengals fan feels their pain. Where's the accountability in the safety room where you're thinking that it has existed in other places? It certainly did with Logan Wilson if you're comparing the two.
Yeah, at least let's try something. Let's make it fun. Have something else to talk about. You know what I'm going to start now is move Dax Hill back to safety. Let's just go back to that. Can't be worse. Give him a shot.
Yeah, why not? Why not
it's probably because your cornerback room lacks a lot of depth too. But at this point,
the only person who maybe is giving less effort than Geno Stone is Josh Newton. So there you go.
Yeah, it's a real great place we're in. Way to bring our vibes back down. This one's from Nick. He says, hello, Mark and Paul. Big fan. Over the years, I've come to the Growler for top tier Bengals insights with great personalities being an added bonus. These last few weeks, the order has flipped, and I now eagerly listen to the Growler for your great broadcasting personalities with the insights as a bonus. Probably because the insights are dreadful. All right, thanks on that.
Wait.
Is
that suggesting that what we're saying is not insightful, or that what we're saying is really sad about the state of the Bengals?
Yeah, I think you're cutting through the noise. I see it as, since it was so complimentary, it's just the state of where things are has been so depressing to Nick. And it's not Nick, the insight.
Feel free to send us a second email that sets the record straight, that says, hey, I actually think you guys are dreadful. Like, if that's where it is, let's say it. Let's say it with your chest.
Here's his question. He says, since it's officially mock draft season in Cincinnati, I'm wondering who are the players that we should be looking at, assuming the Bengals land a top 10 pick. My follow-up question, which traits-based project pick that we've never heard of do you think they're going to draft in the first round? And when will the suffering end? From Nick.
I don't know if the suffering will end. I can't guarantee anything involving suffering. So I'll leave the last part alone. I can tell you, I can try to bring some happiness to you.
Ooh,
got a surprise for you guys next week. Got a little surprise for you next
surprises.
week. So I'll just say, think about what this question just asked, and I'll let you know there is a surprise coming for you on the pod feed next week. And I'll point here. Where am I pointing? I'm pointing to the A on my sweatshirt, and think about the draft question that was just asked. And keep an eye on your feed next week. And I'll also offer you a bit of information. That person is Keldrick Falk from Auburn, that you will be screaming, please don't draft Falk at the draft party next year. He is the latest in that line of super traitsy, unproductive edges from SEC schools. And big programs that we've seen come in here. The Miles Murphy, Shamar Stewart trifecta would be Keldrick Falk potentially in the top 10, if you're wondering to know who those names are. But outside of that, I'll leave you in a cliffhanger on that one, because we'll talk more about that next week.
I hope that's the last time I have to hear about the Auburn guy and that doesn't become a thing, because that would really traumatize me. This one's from Kevin. He says, longtime listener, hear me out. Am I crazy to think that maybe Marvin Lewis could be part of the answer in a personnel or even GM role once the family accepts how extensive the defensive rebuild is going to have to be? Say what you will about his tenure, but they consistently identified and developed defensive talent from the mid-rounds with Marvin. I assume having a prominent role in those decisions. Does he still have a good relationship with the family? And is there any chance you think he might be interested in taking a front office role? Or is this just a delirious attempt by me to grasp for some sort of hope and change in what seems like a hopeless place? That's from
the idea that Bengals fans are now asking, because you want Duke Tobin to be more transparent and to talk more, right? Like, you want him involved. You're asking for more Marvin Lewis press conferences? Is that what's happening? More Marvin Lewis insights?
We got a lot of people suggesting this too. It wasn't.
This is not the first time we've answered this question before. It keeps coming in. I cannot believe we're at this place. Like
GM Marvin.
I can understand having the worst defense in the history of the sport. Okay. Like it happens. Like things fall apart and it goes bad. I just can't believe that people are calling for Marvin Lewis to come back as like a front office savior here. That's crazy. Marvin will be calling the game this week again on radio as he was in Green Bay. So maybe we'll ask him if he has any interest in coming back. He does have a good relationship with the family still, as far as I know, and I think is in very good graces in that regard. But no, I do not see that as an option.
That is a dark place when everybody wants Marvin Lewis back as a GM. This next one is from Sydney Stew. Oh, we've done a few of these too, which I always enjoy when the team's bad. It's just people that want to blame the media. He says, I think you should switch roles going forward, as Mark being a full-time professional comedian would be much better suited in those Zach pressers, given the hilariously head up the something, sunshines and lollipops quality of responses from Zach Taylor. When are we going to hear some proper journalistic pushback to the dribble that only serves to rub the noses in a long-suffering fan base that is treated with utter contempt by Zach and the organization? Don't let the fear stop you.
I mean, do you want answers or do you want confrontation?
What's crazy to me about that is like
people want confrontation. People want us to yell at them for you. And
what are they going to say?
That's if you ever want an answer, it's just not going to happen that way. If you think that us getting up there and being like, tell us why you suck. That's literally someone said that. That's the question I need to be asking. Tell us why you suck. Like, what do you think that is going to do? What answer are you getting? These are not performative things for as an avenue for you to take out your anger. Yes, getting answers is something that we try to do here all the time. Like, that's what we're in the building trying to find ways to get you the answers that you want. We tell them to you on this program. I write them in The Athletic. I find out the answers that we can find out. But getting in there and yelling at them is not what it looks. And I understand that's what people want. I see it, hear it all the time. I understand that is what people want. They want confrontation. It's not about fear.
Yeah, you're afraid of it.
What is the goal? The goal for me is to get the answers. Okay. And yelling about stuff at them is not going to get those answers for you. And I'm trying to get you the answers. I'm not trying to say, look at me. I called out the coach.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I don't know. I understand that many fans have very different opinions than I do on how to do this job. And I'm going to keep doing it the way that I've done it, because I feel like in my mind, I've done a good job of getting you guys answers over the years. And the way that I've done it has not been on turning the press conferences into these massive confrontations. I understand that you want that. If you have a question that you feel like needs to be asked and that I haven't asked, send it to me. I want to know what it is. A lot of times you guys send me stuff and we've asked it.
Yeah.
Like, people were yelling at me like, why do you ask about the timeouts? It was the first question I asked after the game on Sunday. Was about what the heck happened in that situation. But I didn't say, why did you screw it up? It was, explain to me what happened in the situations, why you decided to call a timeout. Zach Taylor even says to me after you're right to criticize that decision. Like, I don't know if people aren't listening or they want it to sound different or they just want it to be like, make them squirm up there. I'm not going to be that guy.
I also don't know what market has that guy.
Yeah.
I don't see that in any press conference. Like, it doesn't matter what city it is where somebody's just like screaming back at the coach like that. There
are some that maybe are more confrontational, I guess, than
some hot take columnists and stuff like that. Maybe a little more performative.
Yeah. And that's fine. Like, if that's what you want it to be, but that is for you to get, poke the bear of the coach to get him to lose it, to try to get your viral clip.
Right.
It's not to get an answer.
Yeah.
And so if you're trying to get answers, there's a lot of different ways to go about it. And a press conference is a small sliver of that.
It's also crazy to me that, like, assuming that the fan base is treated with utter contempt by Zach, this is the same guy that was bringing game balls into local bars after playoff wins. That is not somebody that has contempt for the fan base.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of,
now,
I mean, he's all, I mean, there's a lot of things that you can say, and rightfully so, about Zach Taylor. And we can talk about his fitness to continue doing this job or whatever. The idea that this man has contempt for the fan base and is some sort of like evil soul is bananas. Is absolutely off your rocker insane. Okay. That's not the issue at hand here.
No. Now let's take a different side of this pendulum here and get to something that's a little bit more fun, a little bit better email caliber, I guess, to end on this week. This is from Christian. We talked a little bit about the urinal trough last week on the show, especially with Stanio. He said that he had the same experience that you did with the middle trough. When he was in college, the largest bathroom in the football stadium had a circular trough where we would all pee standing in a circle facing each other. This setup fascinated me. I was always very careful to make it clear that I was keeping my eyes up. I was thankfully always too drunk to get stage fright. It was 20 years later that I found out that was actually the hand washing station.
Oh, no.
So they spent years just urinating into the hand washing station at the college football game. That's from Christian. That is a visual.
I really hope that when I saw the middle trough that it wasn't also a hand washing station. It's also one of those things at a football game, though, where like when everybody in the room decides they got to go, that hand washing station in the middle is free game. I mean, you've probably been to places where you just see the last thing you need is like if there's just a drain in the middle of the floor, because there'll be the one guy who's just like, I'm going in this drain, right? It gets real weird in there. No doubt. So maybe the trough was the upgrade to keep people from just going right in the drain.
It just takes one explorer to really open that gate, and then everybody else just comes in flooding behind them, and there we are.
No, appreciate that. Great insight on that. I have an ambush light for you.
Okay.
I want to ambush you. So we had this conversation on PD&J, was referenced earlier here in the episode with the thumbs up emoji and the K, about what's the most disrespectful thing that you can do to another person without injuring them. This obviously being on the spitting on them conversation with Jamar Chase. We went through a lot of different things with Mo, and it was hysterical. I asked people go back and listen to that because it was great. We had a good time. We talked about the idea of the dead fish handshake, looking over people. We went into text etiquette with the K response. There were a lot of different places that went. Where would you weigh in? Is there something that you think is the most disrespectful thing that you can do to a person without injuring them?
I think that it depends on who the person is. One of the worst is probably, I don't know if you've had this, talking to somebody and they pick up the phone in the middle of the conversation when you're talking to them. It's like, man, that is a sign that they are done. They can't just like click on the next reel or whatever because you're a human talking to them. But they're clearly like, all right, this is boring. I'm going to see if I got anything else in the world in the palm of my hand that can distract me for a few minutes. That's a pretty bad one. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say one that I didn't get in the other day that I wanted to make sure I got out there, because this happens to me a lot as a loud person. Like it's just my personality. I can't help it. I'm generally loud, is when I would get shushed. Have you ever been shushed before?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Where did you get shushed?
I mean, pretty much my entire 20s. I was just, again, I'm a louder person, and maybe it makes some people uncomfortable sometimes when I would be louder, and someone just is trying to do something and shh, like, oh no, you didn't shush me. Like, don't, that's not something that you do if you have any level of respect for a person.
Like,
so shushing is a personal one for me that gets me.
Yeah, that's like if you're in an argument with your spouse and you tell them to calm down, because you know that's never going to result in them calming down. The shush is the same thing, where if you do that, you're just going to get somebody angrier and they're just going to be louder at you. That's the way that's going. I don't know. I think another high thing on my disrespect list is probably something that I didn't do. and it's the fact that I don't follow my wife on Instagram. I feel like that's kind of disrespectful. Like, she shares my last name, but I'm still not going to give her the follow because I'm like, it's just pictures of my kids. I've seen them before.
Well, I was going to say, why do you choose not to do so?
She was late to the game. I don't know. So I already had my feed how I liked it. And it's not like her content is all that good. She's got to step up her content game. You know, we're Facebook friends. That's something. It's not like I ignore her on all social media, but she does not have the Instagram follow.
Wow. Facebook friends? No, you're not giving her the Instagram. There could be. I
should probably change that because I know she listens to this podcast even more than I do. So I should probably change it before she hears this episode. But
I mean, are you worried about her messing up your algorithm?
I mean, it's just not the content that I want to be served up when I'm looking at my phone. If I am talking to her or she's talking to me and I get bored and I pick up my phone to get a little bit of a break, I don't want to just see her stuff again. I want to see something cooler. Yeah. So not following your significant other on Instagram is probably a big one.
That is disrespectful. I'm offended for her at this point. All right. Make sure you check in, by the way, on the prediction. We're having the prediction episode, and the game preview episode is going to come to you on Friday afternoon. We're waiting until after we talk to Zach Taylor on Friday and find out exactly what's happening with Joe Burrow to come back with you with the latest on the Burrow playing situation, preview the game, and do our predictions and Growler bet in there. So check back in then on Friday afternoon, and you can get in on the Growler bet and hear all about the setup for Burrow and company going into the game on Sunday. And next week, by the way, for doing I'm doing programming that's coming next. Next week is the week that I take off for Thanksgiving every year. I'm still doing the game, so I'll be still doing all the same thing. You have the walkout with me and Jay on Sunday, and also on Thursday I'll be in Baltimore on Thanksgiving night, but we are off to the Hocking Hills and to see family around that. So, Mark, you and Jay are going to do a show next week, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
hopefully
get after me.
Got some good.
Follow him on Instagram?
Of course I do, because Jay's a good follow.
Yeah, that's
he's a good follow.
So that will be in, and then the special episode that I mentioned earlier also will be dropping into your feeds next week. So you'll still have content from us all the same, but I will be taking some family time next week in the middle of this mess. I got to go to the woods and decompress.
Yeah,
that's the only way I can possibly finish out this mess for the last month and a half. So that's next week's schedule, and then no rewatch after the game. We'll have rewatch for you in the same Monday at 8 hole. So look for that. Charlie and I with rewatch stuff from the Thanksgiving game will be coming to you on Monday after that Bengals Ravens game in Baltimore. So keep an eye out for all of that stuff coming next in your feed. Okay. That out of the way.
Growl Pal Spotlight.
Yeah, Growl Pal Spotlight,
week.
Right?
So also we're still taking suggestions for those too. Yes. Like if you have a charity or cause you're working with, especially around the holidays, shoot that to the Growler podcast at gmail.com, because this is the section where we do highlight cool things our community is doing.
Yeah, we would love to highlight you, especially as we get into the Thanksgiving season that we're currently in right now, and then soon to be Christmas season. It's good for us to anything that you're doing that you want out there that people can donate to, important causes, friends, small businesses, you name it. Please send those to us. We love to get to them. This was probably not a small nonprofit, but it deserves highlight nonetheless, and that is Joseph Burrow. He has a foundation. The Joe Burrow Foundation. You may have heard of it. Shout out to them, of course. They are giving out 50,000 meals across the country. They're working with this whole grain breakfast brand Kodiak, which you maybe people knew. I only knew Kodiak as a chew back in the day.
Yeah, I think they have like breakfast waffles and stuff too. They're in the grocery aisles. It's not.
Yeah, they're in the grocery aisles. Yeah, I was thinking of a different Kodiak. Surprised to see them working together, but still giving out 50,000 meals across the country. Cincinnati, Louisiana, I assume Southeast Ohio, which is just living the good life of Joe Burrow right now. Where just so many meals make their way down there. But yeah, awesome stuff that they're doing. Of course, they keep doing that, fighting food insecurity everywhere. So, yet again, more kudos and applause to the Burrow Foundation, which is doing great stuff.
Yeah, Giving Tuesday is coming up after Thanksgiving, so they're another great foundation to keep in mind on that front.
Yeah, they really have a hard time raising funds.
Yeah, they do. It's
Real
just
tough.
they can't get any big name people to kind of pony up something.
No, they can't do any. I mean, the only golf event that purposely doesn't advertise because they don't want too many people to know about it, so that the people are there that feels extra special, because that's how many people want to be a part of the Burrow Foundation Golf Fundraiser, which is just
it makes
amazing.
sense. You got to help out the foundation that's actually doing good things, and
they are doing good things.
Over.
They deserve a ton of respect for what they're doing. Where you at? Oh, I wanted to shout out to you. You're on the show here with me after doing Bob and Tom this morning. That had been fun. How are you? Are you enjoy the Bob and Tom show? Any good?
Yeah, it's a good crew out there. So it was fun to spend a couple hours out there. I'm sure that'll probably be on YouTube today or tomorrow, so you can go back and listen to that. I enjoyed my appearance today because I, was in there for the whole 2 hours. It was a little bit of a drop off for them because they had Hugh Jackman come in studio last week. So he was the Thursday guest, and that was fun because they had another comedian in that day. And then when they found out Hugh was coming to the studio, they just kicked him out and put him in an auxiliary room in the building. And so there was an empty seat for Hugh at the table when he got there. And that was very funny to hear that story.
So were you technically in Hugh Jackman's seat?
I was the Hugh Jackman for today. So I had to be the greatest showman. He did a little more singing on his appearance than I did on mine. But I had more jokes than he did. So I was funnier than Hugh Jackman. And I think that's important when you're on a comedy show like Bob and Tom. But you can go check that out. I was on there to plug a big month and a half of stand-up for me. So I was trying to get the word out. I'm in Goshen, Indiana at the Funny Farm this weekend. It's a new club that I haven't been to before. I've heard great things about it from the Nateland guys. So I'll be up there. So if you live in Indiana, especially the northern half of the state, come out to one of those shows. And then in December, I'm with our guy Josh Sneed at Hilarities in Cleveland. And then December 12th, I'm headlining in Louisville, Kentucky. That's a big one. Need all you Kentucky Growl Pals to come out to that. Planet of the Tapes, I'm headlining there. And then I'm doing a show in Loveland on December 19th. So anybody that lives very close to my actual house could come to that. And then I'm headlining again in Cincinnati on January 3rd at the Commonwealth Comedy Club. So get those tickets now.
Well, since you're going to be in Goshen, Indiana this weekend, that means you won't be at the OU Fest in Loveland this weekend.
There's
an OU that was happening?
No.
Yeah, there's a whole OU event in Loveland this weekend. I'm going.
What a bummer. Where are they doing it?
The burrito buggy's going to be there.
Oh, come on, OU. Yes. What are you doing to me?
The burrito buggy is literally coming to your neighborhood, and you're sorry, got a show in Indiana.
Man, that stinks. Why are they doing it? They should have done it around my schedule and only my schedule. Come
it's from 12 to 9. I know you won't be. It's from 12 to 9 on Saturday out in Loveland. So
just in downtown
all
Loveland.
All the OU folk that listen, come on out, man. We'll be out there. We'll be out there eating burritos.
I'm sure that's all you guys will be doing. OU folk are known just for their eating, not their drinking.
Yes, just eat. I'm going to have, that's all we're going to do. That's all we're going to do. It's going to be great, though. Looking forward to it. Jackie O's is bringing special stuff down. It's going to be fantastic. All right. Dad life. Shall we? What do you got going on over there?
Before we get into yours, I've been watching my daughter. She's doing basketball now and gymnastics. We're out of the soccer season, but I can even relate to this as a soccer coach. The level of coaching the kids get these days is a much higher caliber than we got when we were kids. That's what I've come to learn. And I do have appreciation for everybody that coaches youth sports. I know that when I was a kid, our coaches, they would just basically throw empty cliches at us. They would give you a lot of it's not about the name on the back of your jersey. It's about the name on the front of your jersey. Our team name wasn't even on the front of our jerseys. That's what it was confusing. It was just the logo of the company that sponsored our jerseys, which for us was the county liquor store. So that's a much weirder rallying cry to get a bunch of 7-year-olds to go out there and do it for O'Brien's wine. It's not the same real feeling there. So I am very
wine time.
Our team name, the dads thought it would be fun to nickname us the Bootleggers. So that is a fun name for 7-year-olds. It made no sense to us at the time. We're like, because we boot the ball really hard. But in retrospect, that is a very funny thing to name a children's team that's sponsored by a liquor store. What do you got this week?
Yeah, I want to highlight someone that sent in a dad life email that was in response to my rant that just fired off, which is still really funny that I thought you said Christmas in the air and you said crispness
Crispness, yes,
in
'cause it
the
was
air. And
cold.
it sent me over the edge for some reason. Like it just was a truly unhinged thing that I obviously had been just harboring underneath to make my rant about how Thanksgiving is looked over and disrespected, almost like sending K or giving a talk to the hand or something to the turkey, which I don't like. And I just sort of feel like that's wrong. And then you guys largely, almost unanimously, agreed with me and not with Mark. Mark called it halftime for the Christmas season, which I just thought was a gross response to say.
It was just so disappointing to see so many Growl Pals on the wrong side of history with this one, because it's just a bad take to be propping up Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is fine. That's all it is. Thanksgiving is a meal. Christmas is a season. That's the biggest difference between the two. So I think if you incorporate the best part of fall, that end of fall, and the best part of winter, which is the beginning, you get that holiday season. Then yeah, Thanksgiving is just kind of the halftime there. And that's all it really deserves. Because even Thanksgiving, the best part of it is like a Friendsgiving usually, where it's like, hey, this holiday stinks as it is. So how about we do this with people we actually want to see and eat the food we actually want to do. We'll have it a day earlier. I mean, it's just not the right take to be pro Thanksgiving over Christmas.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not over Christmas. It's that the Christmas season is too long. It is diminishing the value of actual Christmas season in December if we're celebrating Christmas for 2 whole months. I just want to say that I want to thank the people that sent in emails, that sent photos, and I want to give a specific shout out to Dan, who sent this in almost immediately after the episode posted. And this was the turkey, the giant turkey, pilgrim turkey, it appears, knocking over Santa Claus, who is lying on the sidewalk on the ground in front of him with a big sign that says, "Wait your turn." Thank you very much. I need that in my front yard. That's what I want right now. I need that. Perfect.
You know how I can tell Christmas is a better holiday is because when Santa's up in people's yards, you're not going to see a turkey on its side, because Christmas doesn't even concern itself with Thanksgiving. It's not on Christmas's radar. Whereas like Thanksgiving is like the little brother in a sports rivalry. They're just obsessed with everything that Christmas is doing. It's a little bit telling, I think.
Yeah, it's like maybe that's the most disrespectful thing that you can tell someone is like, I don't even think about you. You know? That's as low as it gets. We had an email, and I wanted to give some love from Tyler, who said, "I'm a big believer that Thanksgiving does not get the respect it deserves, and fight my wife every year about delaying Christmas decorations until after Thanksgiving. Thank you. Well, on Saturday, she was taking advantage of the nice weather and putting out some Christmas lights in the front of our house. My 6 and 8-year-old sons see this and come running outside to heckle her and start chanting, 'Respect the harvest, respect the harvest.' One of the prouder moments in my dad life. Respect the harvest indeed. Love that. Thank you, Tyler. And thank you to your sons for properly respecting the harvest and heckling their mother. That's what they
leave the moms alone. That's my message. Show some respect for these mothers out there. God forbid they're trying to make the neighborhood a little bit more enjoyable and spread some cheer. There's no Thanksgiving lights that you're hanging. It's not really taking the place of that. I mean, there's not enough Thanksgiving decorations for this to matter. New York City, like Macy's, has their Christmas decorations up.
The tree is not lit. No, they don't light the tree in New York City until after Thanksgiving. That's the whole point.
The skating rink is out. You can go skating in Central Park right now.
Skating is not necessarily a Christmas thing, okay?
Oh, it's not
like, because it's Christmas, I skate. No, I can skate in February all the same. They don't light the tree until after Thanksgiving because they give it the proper respect. Shout out to the Big Apple. Okay.
Yeah, I
Doing it
like
right.
the tree lighting. You know what the tree lighting is? It's a Christmas tradition, one of many, which is why Christmas is the better season. It's all
This is not
encompassing.
about not being a good season. It's about
Thanksgiving has
stop
one
trying to
thing.
take over Thanksgiving.
It's
Just
a
have your
meal.
space.
It's a meal. Christmas has traditions throughout, not this forced stuff like a
I love
Friendsgiving.
Christmas. There should not be a Christmas tradition that starts on November 1st. Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't go Halloween Christmas. That's what this is about. Not about Christmas not being cool or not having great traditions. It's that let's have a little smaller portion of time so that it's meaningful and not by the end you're like, Jesus, how is it not Christmas yet?
You know what? If you have something that's good, you want more of it. How many
then that
Bengals
makes it
fans out
worse.
there? It's like, oh, well, you went to the Super Bowl once, so just enjoy that, or else it's going to be a diminished memory if you go.
Oh, the
every year.
NCAA tournament's great at 64 teams, but imagine if it had 128. Wouldn't that be great? No, it wouldn't. That's too many.
Yeah, gosh, I really don't want to see the tournament bigger, but you know what? If it's going to be as fun as Extra Christmas, I'm willing to give it a shot.
You don't get extra Christmas. You just get extra like weird lights and like mall Santas.
What Thanksgiving music should I be listening to right now?
The Adam Sandler song on repeat. On repeat. That's it. Okay. I'm not asking for you to first of all, that also the music is another thing. There's
It's great.
I want to be enjoying Christmas music when we get to Christmas, not being like, for the love of God, get Mariah Carey off these speakers right now.
You know what? I'm going to even go a little bit farther. Christmas doesn't even end until like most of the first week of January. I'm even giving us a few extra days until the kids go back to school before Christmas officially ends.
Glad we did this.
I don't think it's over.
Next week, continue weighing in, everybody, telling Mark how wrong he is. I look forward to hearing your responses because I think I'm just looking for one person that agrees with you at this point.
They're out there having too much fun enjoying the Christmas season. They're not all bothered by this rivalry that's very one-sided by you Thanksgiving dorks.
Happy to engage in it. All right, everybody. I'm going to go on my Thanksgiving vacation next week, and I'm really excited about it. It's going to be fantastic. So we'll still be back, of course. Prediction show coming Friday. Joe Burrow news update. Inside of that, letting you know what's happening. Make sure you have all the alerts and everything set up in your feeds if you're listening, on the YouTube page if you are on there. And then, of course, walkout coming to you after the game, a surprise show next week, and as well as Mark and Jay bringing you all the information from the Bengals world in advance of Bengals Ravens on Thanksgiving night. What a beautiful celebratory occasion it will be for everyone on such a righteous holiday to have a football game.
The midway point of the Christmas season.
Thanks, everybody, for listening, for watching. We'll talk to you next time.